The film began with Nathan Drake, played by Tom Holland, hanging off a cargo plane. He was tangled in fallen cargo and tried to climb back into the plane while dodging henchmen and more falling crates. Just as he reached the top, a car flew out of the ramp and hit him, knocking him into the air. As he fell, someone reached out a hand to grab him. The scene then shifted to a flashback from 15 years earlier in Boston. A young Nate, played by Tiernan Jones, and his older brother Sam, played by Rudy Pankow, were sneaking into a museum. They were trying to steal the original map of Ferdinand Magellan's expedition, believing the legend that Magellan's voyage was all about finding hidden gold. However, they were caught by security. Since it was Sam's third offense, the orphanage where both boys lived decided to kick Sam out and send him elsewhere, away from Nate. Later, Nate went back to their room and found Sam sneaking out. Sam told Nate he was leaving but promised that he would return for him. Before leaving, he gave Nate a ring that once belonged to their ancestor, Francis Drake. The ring had the inscription Sic Parvis Magna, meaning greatness from small beginnings. In the present day, Nate was working as a bartender. While serving a snobby rich girl, he managed to steal her bracelet without her noticing. A fortune hunter named Victor Sully Sullivan, played by Mark Wahlberg, noticed Nate's sleight of hand. Sully approached Nate and offered him a chance to work together, but Nate turned him down. Later, Nate realized that Sully had stolen the bracelet from him and left behind his business card. Nate went to Sully's office to retrieve the bracelet, but discovered several artifacts there, including the same map he and Sam had once tried to steal. Sully explained that he used to work with Sam and knew that Nate was his brother. They discussed Magellan's voyage and mentioned that it had been funded by the Moncada family, who had a dark history of committing atrocities. Sully told Nate that Sam had helped him steal the diary of Juan Sebastian Elcano, which contained clues to Magellan's treasure. Although Nate was hesitant to continue the mission Sam had started, he changed his mind after looking through the postcards Sam had sent him over the years. He decided to call Sully and join the quest. Sully explained that they needed to find a golden cross, one of two keys to uncover Magellan's treasure. Sully already had one of the crosses, and the second was being auctioned at a museum. He believed Santiago Moncada, played by Antonio Banderas, would try to buy it, since Moncada saw it as his family's rightful inheritance. As they prepared for the heist, Nate did some research on Sully to learn more about his new partner. At the auction, Sully became uneasy when he saw Jo Braddock, played by Tati Gabrielle. He recognized her as a dangerous mercenary he had encountered before. Braddock approached Sully and made it clear that she knew he was there for the cross too. Meanwhile, Nate was supposed to cut the power during the auction, but he got caught by Moncada's large Scottish henchman, played by Stephen Waddington. To buy time, Sully pretended to bid against Moncada, even though he didn't have the money. After escaping the henchman and another thug, Nate caused a distraction by swinging from the chandelier. This created enough chaos for Sully to grab the cross and make his way out. Braddock tried to stop him, but she was delayed when security guards intervened, and she fought them off violently. Nate managed to escape the remaining guards and joined Sully in his car as they drove away together. Nate and Sully then traveled to Barcelona to meet Sully's contact, Chloe Fraser, played by Sophia Ali. She had the second cross. Chloe didn't trust Nate's presence, but she showed her own lack of trustworthiness by stealing the cross from Nate's bag moments later. Nate and Sully chased her down, and although Chloe almost escaped, Nate reminded her that she wouldn't be able to find the treasure without their help. Based on the clues Nate had studied in Elcano's diary, he figured out that the starting point of their search was a church called Santa Maria del Pi. While staying in a hotel overnight, Chloe brought up the idea that Sully might be hiding something from Nate about his brother Sam. Meanwhile, at the Moncada Foundation headquarters, Santiago Moncada became angry when he learned that his father, Armando, played by Manuel de Blas, was planning to donate the family fortune. Armando told Santiago that he was not worthy of inheriting it. After one final conversation with his father, Moncada ordered Braddock to kill Armando. She followed through. Nate, Sully, and Chloe went to the church and discovered a hidden underground passage. They used the golden crosses to try and open the entrance, but Sully misread a clue from the diary, which triggered a booby trap. Nate and Chloe continued down the entrance with one of the keys, while the other remained with Sully. While exploring the passage, Chloe confided in Nate that she had trouble trusting people because her father had once stolen money from a discovery she made and then abandoned her and the rest of the family. Their search led them to a nightclub where the next passageway was hidden behind a bar. Soon, the Scotsman and another one of Braddock's goons arrived. Nate and Chloe managed to create a distraction and fought off the Scotsman before escaping through the hidden entrance. They then reached a trapdoor and tried to unlock it with their cross, but the room began to fill with water. Sully needed to use the second cross to help them escape. Just as he found the second keyhole behind a glass wall in a restaurant, Braddock attacked him. Sully fought back and threw Braddock into the glass to break it, allowing him to free Nate and Chloe before they drowned. Once safe, Nate and Chloe entered another room that required both crosses to open a door. Sully tossed his cross down to them, and they discovered several large urns, believing they had found the gold. But the urns were filled with salt, and as they broke, Nate discovered a hidden map inside one of them. The map indicated that the treasure was in the Philippines. At that moment, Chloe took advantage of the situation and betrayed Nate. She took the map for herself and told Nate that Sully had been hiding the truth about Sam. She then pistol-whipped him and knocked him out. Later, Sully found Nate. When Nate woke up, he immediately asked what had really happened to Sam. Sully admitted that he and Sam were ambushed by Braddock. She had shot Sam, and Sully claimed he had no choice but to flee, leading him to believe that Sam was killed. Angry and hurt, Nate walked away for Sully. Elsewhere, Braddock met with Moncada. He revealed that Chloe had actually been hired as part of his team, and she brought him the map. Moncada began preparing to travel to the Philippines with his crew. Eventually, Nate and Sully made peace and came up with a plan to sneak onto Moncada's plane by hiding inside the trunk of his car. Once on the plane, Moncada spoke to his crew. He expressed his belief that Magellan's men had betrayed the Moncada family and insisted that the treasure was their rightful inheritance. Suddenly, Braddock betrayed Moncada and slit his throat in front of the crew, taking command herself. As Nate and Sully sneaked out of hiding, Nate's pride got the better of him, and he revealed himself to confront Braddock about shooting Sam. During the confrontation, he opened the cargo chutes. Sully escaped using a parachute, while several of Braddock's henchmen were thrown out of the plane. Chloe, who had taken the map, crashed a car into Nate, knocking him out. But the two managed to grab onto a cargo crate with a parachute and landed safely in the ocean. They floated together until they reached a resort on a nearby island. There, they rented a room and examined the map, only to realize that it didn't show the exact location of the treasure. While Chloe was asleep, Nate took one of the postcards that Sam had sent him. He held a flame under it to reveal a hidden message, which read, "The keys are your compass." Using the golden crosses as a guide, Nate managed to find the exact location of the treasure on the map. He then wrote down false coordinates, knowing that Chloe would see them and head there instead. As expected, she left to follow the fake directions, while Nate kept the real coordinates to himself. Nate used a speedboat to reach the actual location. Around the same time, Braddock and her crew also arrived. Sully caught up with Nate. Inside the ships, they found the long-lost gold. Just as Nate and Sully began to take some of the treasure, Braddock's team began airlifting the ships out of the cavern, planning to keep the ships themselves, which were worth billions. Sully climbed up to one of the helicopters and knocked out the goons on board. Braddock noticed him in the other helicopter and ordered her men to attack. A fight broke out on the ship between Nate and Braddock's crew. They managed to knock the attackers into the ocean. During the chaos, the Scotsman crashed one of the helicopters, causing one of the ships to smash into a massive rock. Braddock then tried to go after Nate herself and attempted to kill him. As Nate climbed toward the chopper, Sully was faced with a difficult decision, whether to save Nate or hold onto the gold. Sully chose to help Nate. He threw the bag of gold at Braddock, hitting her and sending her falling into the ocean. He then pulled Nate up to safety. At that moment, the second ship came crashing down, landing directly on top of Braddock and crushing her. Afterward, Nate and Sully flew away in a helicopter. Nate revealed that he had managed to keep a small portion of the gold for himself. As they flew over the ocean, they spotted Chloe on her speedboat and waved at her mockingly, knowing she had been tricked by the false coordinates. Then, the two headed off together toward their next adventure. Before the credits rolled, a final scene showed a prison cell where Sam was revealed to be alive. He was seen writing another postcard to Nate.